Wow, Jeff, so generous. Thank you so much for gifting those memberships. And yes, no X-Men 97 spoilers, please. Some people, as you can see, have not yet watched that episode. I've filmed my breakdown, and I will edit it after this live stream. But the live streams are very important to me because I appreciate they're important to a number of you. I promised you 3 streams a week. I couldn't do one yesterday because I was seeing Planet of the Apes, and I can't do one Friday, so it's happening today. And there will be another one tomorrow. It's tough balancing my schedule. There's a lot of stuff going on, which is good. It's better than the alternative. And also, by the way, I hear that there is a Quiet Place trailer tomorrow, which I will react to. Thank you for everybody who asked me if I was going to react to the Twisters trailer, but I don't react to Universal trailers unless they're like huge. It would have to be like the first trailer for the movie, or something like Wicked or Jurassic something. Okay, so we have 3 pretty good stories today. I think we have 3 really nice, solid things to discuss. And then, of course, as always, at the end of the stream, there will be 10 minutes of Ask Me Anything. Okay, everybody, here we go. Story number, hi, Ryan Sanchez. Okay, all right. Story number 1. I got a lot of pictures loaded up. Hold on. Where'd it go? Boop. Okay. So we have discussed previously, Jeff, 80s model, thank you for gifting those memberships. And Jeff Ryan, who gifted 20 memberships, says, everyone who got a membership off of me, you're welcome. My pleasure, Grace. Very generous of both of you. Okay, so we discussed before, Lady Jennifer Snow with 10 memberships. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Always so generous. And it's great to see you guys coming back and continuing with your generosity. All right, so we've discussed The Office before, that they were going to bring back The Office. And everybody previously had felt that it was going to be a reboot. But it was officially announced today by Peacock via press release, and we got some new details on the show. Now, I think the most important thing is, you guys keep your comments, please, to the story at hand. And the end of the stream is when you can ask me things that do not pertain to the story that we're discussing. Okay? All right, so the most important part of the announcement is that this is a spin-off, not a reboot, that takes place in the same universe as the original show, which you know what that means? It means that they can have potential guest stars. That's the whole reason they're doing that. Now, obviously, I think it would be hard to get, you never know, but it would be hard to get some of the bigger names like, Steve Carell or John Krasinski to come back, but I bet you can get Dwight to come back, right? I bet you Dwight's available, and he would certainly be interested in talking to people in a newspaper. So let's talk about the setup. All right, so it's a spin-off in the same world, and it follows, so basically the documentary crew that were following around the Dunder Mifflin employees is looking for their next project. And so they decide that they're going to cover a dying, this is the quote from the press release. So it's a dying historic newspaper that the publisher is trying to revive with volunteer reporters, which means they don't get paid. I think that so basically the setup is no longer a company that sells paper, but it's a newspaper office that's going to be covering stories. I think that's deeply flawed. I think the beauty of Dunder Mifflin was that who cares what they sold? Because, it didn't matter. It was the inter-office politics and commenting, like anybody. Anybody could relate because they were in an office situation as well. But not everybody works in a newsroom. A newsroom is a very different type of place to work. It just feels very different. I think it becomes less relatable. And it's more, I think this gives them stories of the week to comment on. And like the reporters will be covering things, literally ripped from the headlines. But I think that limits the show's appeal. And I can see some of you commenting on that as well. What will be the politics of the paper? Today, you cannot be in the news business without without your publication leaning in some direction. Now, they might try and have reporters who are on different sides. Raghu, it's interesting that you bring up Murphy Brown. Murphy Brown really walked that fine line quite well and ended up sometimes being the news, of course, when Murphy Brown decided to have a child herself and got into a fight with real-life character Dan Quayle, the actual vice president at the time. So that to me is, we'll see. Dan, why are you asking about the ring light? It's too bright behind me, and I think that the lighting works better this way, and so it's just more comfortable for me to do it this way. I mean, obviously, I don't have the ring light on, as you can see from looking at from the show. All right. All right. So anyway, I think that Murphy Brown, by the way, came out in a show in a time period which was very different. People weren't political as much back then, and they certainly weren't as divisive. Corey, I'm not sure if it'll still be called The Office. If you don't call it The Office, I don't understand how you would get people to tune in necessarily. What I also think is very interesting is that the 2 stars of the show that have been announced so far, it was leaked in advance, but now it's official, are Domhnall Gleeson and Sabrina Impacatore. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she's from The White Lotus. She was the concierge from the 2nd season of The White Lotus. And it's interesting to me that neither one of those actors is American. And yet they're going to be, I don't know if their characters will be American or not. I don't know if Sabrina can play American, but Domhnall Gleeson has a very good American accent. But, you're going to have 2 actors from overseas playing characters in an American middle American newspaper. That to me is going to be, let's just say it's interesting, and I'll be curious to see how they handle that. But also, who is the Michael Scott character? Yes, it is the Peppa Pig character. It is the character who said that Jennifer Coolidge looked like Peppa Pig. So who is the Steve Carell, Michael Scott character going to be? Who's your boss? What's the, everybody felt that they had a boss like Michael Scott, who was like well-meaning, but totally, that was the beauty of how Steve Carell played Michael Scott. Michael Scott made horrible mistakes and was tone deaf, but he was a nice guy. And I think that's a big way in that his character differed from the Ricky Gervais version of the character. So I think that I don't think it's a good setup, but of course everybody on the face of the earth, Bob Odenkirk would have been a great choice for the editor of the paper. That's very good casting, Adriana. I don't know if he'd be interested in doing it. Because I think he already did a lot of television and he never got anything for it with Better Call Saul. But that's Adriana. He has a Michael Scott kind of quality to him, and I think he seems like the much beleaguered editor-in-chief of a struggling Midwestern newspaper. I think that's a really great choice. But we'll see how Domhnall Gleeson does. I don't know if Domhnall Gleeson's supposed to be the Michael Scott or if he's supposed to be the Jim of the show. We'll see. But I think everyone will obviously try at least one episode because, of course, everybody knows The Office. It's so famous. Poke, I've seen your comment about the new Suits show. I don't think, well, I guess they're not really changing it up that much. I think that's a different kind of situation. And while Suits is, of course, important today, Suits never was like the level of The Office. I mean, it's just a very different type of show. Nick, this is going to air on Peacock, where The Office currently airs. And so they're going to hope that brings people in. All right, so let me ask you. You guys want a poll, and then I can take your questions. All right. How does this spin-off of The Office sound to you? I love it. So interesting. I will try it because The Office. And then no interest at all I think those are three. I love it, so interesting. I will try it because The Office. 1 second. Hate this idea. And then was never interested in bringing back. Okay. By the way, anyone can vote in a poll. Anyone who's watching can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member. Only members can comment, but anyone can vote in the poll. Corey asked if I liked the original show. I did like the original show. I don't think it holds up very well. I've seen some of particularly the very early episodes, and there's stuff that Michael Scott is doing, which I don't think anybody would consider funny today. So I think, I don't think it ages well. I think I saw an episode where Michael Scott was would definitely have gotten Me Too'd. April Moon says, why don't reboots go to the original network? Is streaming really beneficial for them? That's an interesting question, April. I think they really want to get people onto the stream on Peacock. Peacock, is not really a part of the conversation. And this is a way, hopefully, to maybe do that. I think also people just don't really watch network television anymore. And so I think that also, I think maybe it would have more cachet if it was on NBC. Because, Abbott Elementary is doing so well. So I think obviously there's still some interest in, I really do miss sitcoms actually. But I just think there's such a problem with network television that I think they want it to seem more hip. Let's see here. Daniel says, did you hear what Sabrina's character will be called? I haven't heard anything. I think you're just making a joke there, Daniel. I thought that Peppa Pig comment was too mean, by the way. I did not like that. Let's see here. I'm just waiting for you guys to vote. Anyone can vote before we move on to the next story. Film Fanatic says, is Parks and Rec also by the same people as The Office? I don't believe that it is, but it's obviously inspired by that. And so is Abbott Elementary, by the way. They all do the mockumentary style where they have interstitials and interviews with the characters. So it's all the same style that was started by The Office. Ricardo, I think they'll probably get it on the air pretty fast. It might not be. They didn't give an air date. I checked the press release before we went live, but I would imagine probably next year in 2025. Oh, that's right, Elliot. Even Modern Family did the same kind of thing. Modern Family was slicker visually, but you're right. It also did a mockumentary. Oh, hey, Mika. I don't know what screening you went to for Apes, but I was in the afternoon, so we might not have been at the same one. CM says, Grace, I was working on a sitcom about a student-led newspaper based on my own experiences. Should I continue writing it, or is it pointless now? That's a tough call, CM. I'll be honest with you, I think that it's unlikely that it would get picked up at this point because of this show. However, it could still be an example of your writing ability. But yeah, this is going to make it tough for you. This could horribly crash and burn, and maybe a couple of years after that, your show could get picked up, but it's certainly going to delay the ability for anyone to pick yours up. Let's see here. Billy Cheeseburger, what a great name, says The Office is a major comfort show for me. I'm more than happy to give it a try. I just wish it was on TV or a different service such as Netflix or Max. But the whole point is they want you to pay to subscribe to Peacock. But you can watch Peacock with commercials, so you can get in there on a pretty low price point. Oh, Gaps' Parks and Rec is the same team. Well, that might be true, but he certainly didn't work on Abbott Elementary or Modern Family. Thanks, Josh the Leo. All right, I think you guys, let me close the poll and I think you're ready for the next story. Okay, hold on. All right, so how does this spin-off of The Office sound to you? 48% of you were never interested in this, and this hasn't changed your mind. Ooh, ouch. 34% of you will try it because, heck, it's The Office. That's the group that I fall in. 12% of you hate this specific idea, and only 5% of you think this is a good idea. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think this is not, I don't think this is it. I mean, again, we'll all try it, and maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised, but I think this is not a great idea. All right, so the next story I want to talk about today, hold on, story number 2, here it comes. Oh, there's something else I wanted to mention, by the way. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know if you saw this very funny comedy sketch that I tweeted last night. A comedian named Casey Lawrence, very funny guy. He put together this great comedy sketch about what it would be like to work at the Daily Planet. I mean, not the Daily Bugle from Spider-Man. And, what it would be like if the employees, really thought for a moment about, how on earth does Peter Parker get these photos? And a lot of the commentary was talking a little bit about, that's right, J. Jonah Jameson, that's your paper. There was some commentary about, culturally, how different people act at work. And I think that one problem that the original Office had is that it was pretty whitewashed, right? And I think that, today I think office places, well, at least in my experience, are a little bit more diverse. And so even though I'm not a member of that community, I do interact with a lot of people who are, and that sketch rang very true to me. I thought that's one of the things that made it so funny. And so I would say, that I would hope that the Office, this new Office, would maybe correct that because I think that they're missing out on the different types of experiences there are in office work settings. And so I think that is something that so far does not seem to be the case in the way that this new show is being set up. I think that, they tried to fix that as The Office went on, but it never got there. It never got there to, I think also probably because I would maybe guess lack of diversity in the writer's room. And that just goes to show you the importance of that as well, right? Like if you want to make sure that, like your stuff rings true and is relatable to a larger, I mean, The Office was so successful. But still, it's surprising to me that you could have a sketch like this that Casey Lawrence put up and that he wouldn't get hired in a writer's room. That people like that Hollywood wouldn't reach out and be like, wow, this was not only funny, but it rang so true and it had like a authenticity to it and it was relatable to a wide group, even though it was authentic to a specific community. It just was really, really strong. And so, if I were producing the Office spinoff, I would call these guys and I would say, hey, would you guys be interested in work? I mean, although I don't know what they would do. I mean, I guess this is a newspaper, right? That they did a sketch for, and this show is going to be about a newspaper. But I think, I don't understand why they're not on the phone to these guys. That's right, your little dog too. Just having one character does not create diversity. And a lot of the comedy in this sketch that I posted comes from the interacting of the two black characters. And also I saw a lot of people in the comments talking about the importance of that dynamic in the workplace and who some workers gravitate towards within the office community. And there's cliques in an office, and that was never really addressed too much in the show. So I just think that would be nice. I think Abbott Elementary certainly balanced that out, but I think it would be great to have a show that was in the middle of all these shows that maybe would work a little bit better. And I would say that Middle America, even itself, has become pretty diverse at this point. All right, here we go. All right, story number 2, because that would be the old argument against doing that, but I think it doesn't hold water anymore. Kay Walton says, isn't that the bear? Yeah, the bear is an excellent example, but the bear, I know it's under a comedy, but it's not comedic, Thrills Wilbury says, what about Mindy Kaling, Craig Robinson, and the character of Stanley on The Office? Well, not one of those characters was really a main character who had like huge storylines. And, I think they were all there. I mean, Thrills Wilbury, I think it's pretty clear that's not it with those characters. And that's just certainly, especially when you think of think of a show like The Bear. It just doesn't work. All right, so let's go to the next story. All right, story number 2. Boop. Okay, fashion boop. All right, so the Met Gala. Is it worth still talking about the Met Gala? Well, you know what? It's trending number 1, and the Met Gala was on Monday night, and it's still trending number 1 on Wednesday evening. That's incredible. We're going to talk about whether or not the Met Gala, I think the Met Gala is starting to head off the rails, but certainly for the people who attended, I'm not quite sure what Anna Wintour's goal with the show is. Steve says it's trending because it was bad. It's interesting you say that because I thought it jumped the shark. I felt like the Met Gala did not work this year. So let's talk about why. But it is still trending. It's interesting that it's because it's bad. But hey, as they say, no publicity is bad publicity. But I really think they're going to have to take a hard look at what they do for next year because, as I said, again, I think this was a little bit problematic. All right, so I think they have a real problem outside of Zendaya and Nicole Kidman showing up of a lack of A-list talent. Okay? Hey, Bruno. Rihanna didn't show up. She said she had the flu. Taylor Swift wasn't there. Blake Lively wasn't there. Lady Gaga wasn't there. Giselle wasn't there. I guess Giselle was still reeling from the roast of Tom Brady. But don't let that stop you from going out, Giselle. Change the conversation. And then also Katy Perry didn't show up. But you know what? Katy Perry showed up as an AI. This was one of the most liked photos of the evening. There was another one as well. And they're not real, but they look real. That's incredible. But I think that it sparks a real problem going forward for the Met Gala that someone could make such an impression and not even actually have been there. It was the nicest dress, in my opinion. I think that's one of the reasons that it did so well. But yeah, this is not a real photo of Katy Perry. It's one of 2 that were making the rounds on Twitter on Monday night, and it wasn't even real. So that to me is incredible. Now, I think another problem with the Met Gala was that the theming was not good, okay? The theme was Garden of Time, and I saw some hilarious comments that said that was interesting because in The Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep, doing a spoof of Anna Wintour, said, florals for spring, how inspired, sarcastically. But yet that's what Anna Wintour did for this Met Gala. And I think it's hard to know what to do with that. I think that, I don't even know how, and also I think people have just lost the plot. Because Nicole Kidman's dress, what does that have to do with the Garden of Time? She just went and found like vintage designer clothing and put it on. And you're like, that has nothing to do with the garden or time. You're not a flower or a clock. I saw very little clock stuff. Oh, thanks, AG, for gifting those memberships. That's very generous of you. And Christo, I appreciate that as well. Thank you. So I feel like there might have been an exhibit that went along with this, but I feel like people just didn't go far enough with the theming. To me, it just didn't work. But here's an unexpected situation, all right? So I feel like method dressing, which we saw with Dune and Barbie, with Zendaya and Margot Robbie, has created, I know there's always an exhibit. I'm actually planning to go see it. But Sleeping Beauties is the exhibit, but it wasn't the theme, right? The theme was Garden of Time. So anyway, I think that method dressing has created a little bit of a problem in that, people are doing the Met Gala like almost on a monthly, if not weekly basis already. So how do you continue to come up with really amazing things here, like on the Met Gala? How do you top what Margot Robbie did or what Zendaya couldn't even top herself? I thought she looked very pretty, but I don't think, she came nowhere near her looks for Dune, which I still think set the bar the highest. And this is also, they're having a problem. Like Anya Taylor-Joy, by the way, has been doing the press for Furiosa. And I think that while she looks very pretty in her outfits, I think that it's not really working. And I think that I think they don't really fit with Fury Road, they don't really fit with the movie. And I also think for some reason, they're just not working out. It's not having the same effect. And the fact that we're only only the third red carpet and we've already hit a snag with method dressing, I think this is going to be harder than we thought. And also, as I said, I think that it seriously has undercut the Met Gala. Because the Met Gala used to be the only time of the year that people would do this kind of dressing. But now that it's happening all the time, I think it's almost impossible to do it. Again, as I said, monthly, if not weekly. You can see that Anya Taylor-Joy is I agree with Leo that it just feels a little bit forced. I mean, again, she looks beautiful, but you can see what she's trying to do. Like with Zendaya and Margot Robbie, they very much are, underscoring the movies that they're promoting. But when you see Anya Taylor-Joy, you're like, oh, you're trying to do method dressing, and it didn't really work out, It becomes more about the fashion and competing with those other actresses than it does, let's see here, than it does about being about the film itself. I don't think, who said that? I didn't think Rachel Zegler looked good at all. I mean, she certainly looked very pretty, but I mean, she had no theming. She didn't have a spring. She didn't have a garden. She didn't have anything to do with time. She just wore a blue dress. Same with Shakira, by the way, who just wore a red dress. And you're like, what the heck does that have to do with the Garden of Time? It was very frustrating. It's like, did you come to play or not? So that bothered me a lot. I was like, you guys, you gotta pay attention to the invitation. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this story? CM Hugh Jackman, did he just show up in a tux? But I thought Dan Levy looked pretty good. I like Dan Levy's suit. It's harder, Jared Leto wasn't there either. Stephen Turner says there's an issue with people not doing the theme. The Met should be high fashion drag for celebrities. There's many drag queens who would do better. I would agree. I think maybe they should invite some to raise the bar. Corey says, who was your best dressed? Ooh, I thought Nicole Kidman looked amazing and got the best press out of it. Somebody asked her about her AMC spot, which I thought was nice. As for who looked the best, AI Katy Perry, to be honest with you, I thought actually looked the best. I didn't really love anybody's outfit. There wasn't anyone. I mean, Zendaya is always great, but I think she's looked better on her Dune tour and also even her Challengers tour. Fritz says, I was disappointed by some brands just pushing their recent runway looks instead of actually translating the theme, like Balenciaga and Chloe. Yeah, that's totally what I'm saying. Agreed. Okay, Walt, you didn't like Katy Perry's AI dress? I guess it was just more about a garden and no time. So I can understand that. Oliver says, Law Roach, Zendaya's stylist, actually used to style Anya, but not anymore. Apparently they had a falling out. I was just happy that Law Roach himself was getting his photograph taken at the Met Gala on Monday evening. I love that he's becoming a celebrity himself, which is much deserved. So that made me very happy. I didn't love his outfit, but I thought it was nice that he was getting his picture taken. And that everybody was like, Law Roach, over here, over here. And I was like, you get that, Law Roach. Let's see here. Stephen says the dress with moving butterfly arms was great. Oh, I didn't see that. Donner said maybe Nicole Kidman was night and day. Well, if I have to guess, it doesn't work. I should immediately be able to just enjoy the look instead of being like, I'll do the work for you, Nicole. Mr. Magic says that Ariana Grande was there, looked great, and performed. Well, I think if you're a big Ariana Grande fan, that's exciting, but I am not a huge Ariana Grande fan, so I just thought she looked like Ariana Grande. Mandito says the women tried to be on theme while a majority of men were just dressed up for a night out at the museum. Yeah, I think if you're going to go to the Met Gala, you should only go if you're going to participate. I don't think showing up in a tux really works, you know? I mean, I've saw some guys who were able to make it work and made an effort. Again, I told you I thought Dan Levy looked good in particular. So I think, you know, you got to make more of an effort. Danny, again, the theme was Garden of Time. All right, so let's go to the final story of the day. Let's see here. Carla Linares points out that Haute La Mode has a great video explaining the theme. That's awesome. They should have sent it to those celebrities with the invitation, being like, come on, this is what you're supposed to wear. All right, story number 3, and then we'll get to the Ask Me Anything portion of the stream. All right, boom, baby. So Michelle Yeoh has yet another project. I have to say, I love Michelle Yeoh, big fan. I've been a fan of hers for a long time. But I do feel like she's gotten so much work lately and like nothing to show for it. Like I feel like she's been in so many projects and not one of them has really worked out besides Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, I'm not, that's the thing that makes me a little bit nervous about this. I hope it's not as mediocre as the rest of that stuff, Michelle. All right, so this is called Blade Runner 2099, 50 years after the Denis Villeneuve film 2049 with Ryan Gosling. That's right, Max. Michelle Yeoh isn't Wicked, but you know she has this more of a supporting role there. Here she's supposedly the star of the show here. I hope so. That would be great. I hope it's like a really strong role and she's not just there to be like in the background to add like credibility to the show. Now, very promising, and this is promising with her here, and that is that the Shogun, one of the showrunners for Shogun, is directing the first 2 episodes and is an executive producer. So hopefully he'll help make sure that she gets the right stuff. Because, you know, putting her in John Wick, Albert Diaz, is a great idea. You know, Donnie Yen, I think, you know, a lot of Asian talent has had a very hard time. Look at K.Y. Kwan, right? He's had a difficult time. This is a TV series, J. Jonah Jameson. And then also, Hiroyuki Sanada, I've seen, like so many of the people in Shogun, we've seen in a lot of Hollywood projects, and they've never made an impression. But yet we watch them in Shogun, and we're like, you guys are amazing. So I hope that is what this is for Michelle Yeoh. So to me, though, I think the most important, so this is going to be on Prime Video. It's going to be a series, yet another story in the Blade Runner universe. But to me, what's the most important thing are the replicants. And I think that's something that 2049 really messed up. To me, I mean, it had like the Ana de Armas storyline, of course, but to me, replicants are what really make the Blade Runner universe interesting. They're the replicants from the first film. Really fascinating characters with some amazing dialogue. For instance, the Daryl Hannah character is, thought to have some influence on Harley Quinn. And then also, of course, who is one of the most famous characters in this larger world? David, who, ties the alien world over into Blade Runner. He, of course, was also a replicant. Or a synthetic, depending on the terminology that you want to use. To me, they're the most interesting characters in this space. And I'd love it if Michelle Yeoh played a synthetic or a replicant. But we'll see what happens, what they decide to do. But that to me is what makes Blade Runner really special. That to me is what I think makes the franchise stand out. And so I'm hoping that that's what this show focuses on. The Great Mr. Y, Alien and Blade Runner, they're not officially connected, but I think it's pretty clear from some of the later Alien movies that they have, especially how they tied the companies together, they had that crossover, and that their worlds are, I think, somewhat connected. I don't think they've ever actually made the jump, but I think that, Ridley Scott has, hinted at it. Oh, that's right, Mika, and Raised by Wolves, worked very hard to connect them. So I don't think, Raised by Wolves was canceled after 2 seasons. I think, it's not, I don't think it's like definitively connected, But I think if you're a fan of the two worlds, you know that they are aware of each other and they've almost broken through. But I think this is a great idea. I mean, I would certainly be interested in a Blade Runner show, but I'm just a little bit nervous. You know, when you say that the Shogun people are involved, that makes me very excited. But, you know, I don't even know if they can make Blade Runner work. Blade Runner is a tough property. Let me ask you guys. I'll do a poll. Poll. Are you interested in a Blade Runner show? Maybe. Let's see it. Then for sure. And then not at all. All right, anybody can vote, by the way. Only members can chat, but anybody can vote in a poll. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Andrew James says this feels like the first real post-Oscar role for her. I hope it's good, Andrew. I'm real nervous. Ricardo says, will she still be available for Shang-Chi 2? Let's see if they ever make that. You know? Like, where is that? And she had such a small role in the first film. Steven says, I think there's still, unfortunately, an industry double standard where people of color who win Oscars often don't get the same boost of opportunities as their white peers who win. Well, yeah, I think that's because of the larger problem in the industry. You know, I think it's a larger problem in the type of roles that are written, and also Hollywood's inability to change the roles, you know, like to say, well, why can't we cast this person here? So, but I think it's hard for everybody. I think it's very hard to especially if Hollywood didn't know what to do with you before, they're not going to mysteriously suddenly know what to do with you after. And Hollywood has always, unfortunately, struggled with Michelle Yeoh, which is a real shame. Let's see here. AG says, I thought that AG's under the impression that they said that Yeoh will be an aging replicant. Well, you might have seen that as a rumor, but there's no official word on who she's playing. Jake Ved Norden will watch just for Michelle Yeoh. That's great. Oliver says, excuse me, Grace, the most famous replicant is Rachel, played by the gorgeous Sean Young. I don't know about that, about her being the most famous, but she certainly is one of the most famous. That's right, little baby pizza. Michelle Yeoh showed up a little bit in Guardians too. That's because, again, they don't know what to do with her. It's really unfortunate. Let's see here. Skunkman62 says, anything Blade Runner is good to me. Yeah, there's certainly a fan base that will tune in to the show. I just hope it's good. All right, I think we're pretty good on this. Let me close the poll, and then we'll move over to Ask Me Anything. All right, hold on. All right, so are you interested in a Blade Runner show? 43% of you are like, let me see it. 33% of you could not care less, and only 22% of you are into it. That sounds about right for Blade Runner as a IP. You know, they keep trying to make Blade Runner happen, and so far nobody's been able to do it, which is too bad, because I think there is something. I think there is something good there. All right, so time for the Q&A section of today's stream. So 10 minutes. Hold on. It's 5:14. You can ask me anything you'd like. Why is that? Oh, my picture is weird. Oh, look at that. All right. Okay, you can ask me anything until, I'll just do till 5:25. All right, so Dancing Dog 60 says, thank you, Dancing Dog 60. With the MCU cutting back, how long will we have to wait to see certain characters again, like Wanda or T'Challa, or anyone for that matter, if ever? Well, Dancing Dog 60, that should have been a story today, is referencing the fact that Marvel, Disney, when they had their earnings call on Tuesday, they revealed that they're going to slow down the Marvel pipeline, and they're going to do only 2 to 3 movies a year, and then only 1 to 2 series a year. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Feige has a real problem in that he has too many characters. He has too deep a bench, and he just doesn't have enough space to spotlight all of them. And so I think it's going to be a problem. And but I think so is oversaturation. So I think the problem is that they expanded too quickly, and that created this issue. I think bringing about the X-Men and the Fantastic Four at basically the same time is going to also be an issue. And that, again, it's like just too many characters. I think that it would be better to focus on an Avengers team at a time for a phase, and then make them the star of the Avengers films, and then focus on solo films for them outside of that. But, they're course correcting right now, and we'll see how it works out. Let's see here. Oh, Bruno, I'm so glad you joined today. Yes, I think I saw you join, but I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Nof X says, Grace, it feels like buzz around House of the Dragon Season 2 is very low. I do think it's a little low. I think, Max is a little bit difficult in the way they handle their trailers. But I think that, once the show hits, if it's good, it'll still be a big deal. I mean, remember, everybody was very skeptical about it last time, and then it showed up and everybody went crazy. So the only potential issue is that HBO has been so dead on Sunday nights for like months now that it might be a little bit difficult to get the machine back up again. But I think it'll get there. Ricardo says, you see Elizabeth Olsen got signed to CAA. Does that mean no more Marvel and more roles in other main blockbusters? I think Elizabeth Olsen's just fighting for her career at this point. She's done some wonderful work that no one's paid any attention to. The Love and Death show that she did, I loved that. I think she's not getting a ton of work. She has some things coming up, but like Jodie Comer's getting everything that I'm sure Elizabeth Olsen would like to get. So I think she also is a little bit, I don't know if she's going to want to go back to Marvel. I think part of her might feel that might have limited her, but yet, go with what you got. That's what she's the most famous for. I think she should be pushing for a Wanda project. Let's see here. Will says, any thoughts on the Disney investor call? Seemed uneventful. It was uneventful. I think, they already just did a whole bunch of stuff the last time because they were fending off Nelson Peltz. So I think they're still, they're just still doing all those changes. Although I have to say, they've opened up Disney Springs in Tokyo, the park expansion there, and the technology there looks incredible. I mean, like, when they have the space to build, the rides just look so phenomenal. I wish that they would have, they just do a lot of reskinning in the U.S. parks, and so it just doesn't look quite as good. And so I hope that they can change that. John Thrasher says, just want to say thank you for covering X-Men 97. I love your POV as a comic book fan. Thank you. I'm sorry that it's delayed, but, I had to do the Planet of the Apes this morning. Next week for the season finale, I'm going to get up like at 6 a.m. and I'm going to really focus on it because I actually have a screening that afternoon, and I'm going to really focus on getting that up as fast as possible. Thank you for your patience. Oh, let's see here. Oh, Lisa, that's very generous of you. Thank you for gifting those memberships. Thank you so much. Okay, hold on. Don't worry, I'm getting to your questions. Okay, all right, let's see here. Mr. Magic says, Grace had a magical 10-year anniversary trip. It meant so much to my partner and I that you gave us a shout out. It's my pleasure, Mr. Magic. I'm glad you had a magical time, and I'm glad you guys even checked in while you were away on your trip. Jake Van Noren says, happy 14 months. Are you reading any current comic runs? Any favorites? The current Avengers run is one of my favorites. Well, Jake, I'm reading Birds of Prey. I still like that a lot. I think that's great. I actually just got some comics, but I haven't had a chance to look at them just yet. Let's see here. Tim Zilla. I did not look at the Twisters trailer, and I'm not going to react to it because, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I don't react to most Universal trailers because of some of their policies. Let's see here. Carter B says, have you heard Taylor Swift's new album? I personally couldn't get into it. Yeah, I like Taylor Swift, but I've been listening to her older stuff instead. There's nothing there that I think really excited me, personally. Carlo says, hi, Grace. Last night I donated, something the bear, and it was exquisite, very much pun intended. I didn't get your pun. So clever, and Jamie Lee Curtis's character. Oh yes, Jamie Lee Curtis is in season 2 of The Bear as a guest star, and she just does an incredible job. Let's see here. Danny, I didn't watch the Furiosa final trailer. Let's see here. Bye, Rena. Blair Wraith says, thoughts on Keanu and Sandra wanting to team up for Speed 3. What would you like to see them try to stop? I wish they would wish they could stop a bullet train, but it seems redundant these days. I think that was very nice of them to say they would love to do another Speed, but I don't know if they actually will. And they did say that it would have to be a good project. I don't know if anybody wants to see another Speed. I mean, after The Matrix, I don't know if I want to see Keanu reprise any of his famous roles. Thanks, Starboy. Says, loving the stream. Any tea on Hulkling in the MCU yet? He's my favorite character. I like Hulkling too, but I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about him. Let's see here. Catalan says, will we ever see the Eternals again? Perhaps not as a sequel, but maybe in an Avengers movie. I think if you see anybody, it will probably be Richard Madden or maybe Kumail Nanjiani. But I know you like Thena or Circe, but I don't think it's going to be one of those two. Let's see here. Nintendo says, Grace, I promise that I'm not trying to start any beef. That's spoken like someone who is. I'm just curious as to why Amy Pascal is able to rise above her controversy while James Gunn is still hindered by his. How is he hindered? He runs the comic book studio. So you don't really feel that Amy Pascal redeemed herself. I think, both of them, got knocked down a peg, but both of them, I think, have, rebounded. And I don't think either of them will ever fully be able to get clear of their scandals, but I think both of them, let's see. Let's see how Superman does. And I think that Amy Pascal, for the most part, is doing quite well. Pearl Plum Sparkle says, Grace, what do you think Kevin Feige will do if Deadpool and Wolverine bombs at the box office? I think that's almost impossible. I mean, never say never, but I think it's going to be a big hit. I've spoken to a number of people who say the next time they're going to the movies is for that film. Raphael says, I'm just so glad I got my diamond. Oh, yay, congratulations. First time was with the first Deadpool trailer. Never lost a single video since, even though I wasn't always subscribed. That's okay, Raphael. That means so much to me that we've been together for so long. You deserve a diamond, baby. Let's see here. Hey, Matt. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see here. Matt says, Grace, can you name 3 creatives of today and describe what they are doing to give you hope for... that's such a long question, Matt. I'm sorry. I don't really think I have the bandwidth for that today. Batman, that's very sweet of you, Batman. I really appreciate that. Max888 says, Taddy Gabriel or Hunter Schafer as options for Black Cat in the MCU. I don't know. I think I liked Sydney Sweeney as Black Cat. I saw a lot of fan casting for her. I think she'd be a good choice for that. Although that would be another Euphoria team up with Zendaya. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Ben 10. Don't worry about being late. Dory Does Voices says, I saw the Tangled ride on Instagram at Disney Tokyo, and I am in love with it. I know. I saw the Peter Pan ride and the Frozen ride, not the whole thing, but parts of it, and I was like, I want to go to there, as Tina Fey would say. Jareem says, outside of cameos, do you think we'll see Psylocke, Colossus, and Archangel join the cast to make a true 90s roster in X-Men 97? Let's see what the next season cast looks like. I'm very excited about it, but I just want to see what the final episode looks like. Hi, Brian Griffin. Oh, look, that dog does look like Brian Griffin in real life. That's hilarious. Let's see here. Tiff says, hi, Grace. Loving the shirt today. Thank you. Been wondering, is there anything you've always wanted to implement to your channel that you haven't been able to? I just want to get my videos up on time. That's so stressful. Okay, let's see here. I don't want to make you guys wait. Daniel Harani says, why didn't you mention Hannah Waddingham in your Fall Guy review? I really couldn't say anything about it. I was worried I would give stuff away if I talked about her too much. And also, I didn't particularly care for the performance. I thought it was fine, but it just wasn't anything. So I just didn't mention her. Resident Justice says, do you think DC as a brand can ever recover? I really want DC fans to be united and positive again. I hope Superman will be good. I have faith in Gunn. I hope it's good too. You know, I mean, I really would love for DC to turn a corner. And, you know, I saw people do an edit of the first look at Superman that made it like the traditional comics, and it looked great. All he had to do was make a Superman story like the original comics and just tell a Superman story. That's all he had to do. And he's not doing it. And so let's see if he pays the price for that. Lisa, this is your favorite shirt of mine? That means a lot. Thank you. Let's see here. That makes me happy, Lisa, because when I first debuted it, some people did not care for the shirt, and I felt bad, and that's why I didn't wear it for a little bit. Let's see. The sun is so hot. It's so hot right now. Okay, let's see here. Nintendo, you didn't come across as antagonistic. Let's see here. RoboCop says, do we really need another Star Wars film? Let's see how The Acolyte does. I am kind of nervous about the brand. Jeff Priest says, any trailers dropping soon? Well, as I said earlier in the stream, I heard that tomorrow there's a new Quiet Place trailer, so I'm excited about that. Blair Wraith says, who do you prefer, Drake or Kendrick Lamar? I'm afraid I am Switzerland, or whichever is the neutral country when it comes to the rap war. Let's see here. Nintendo, that was very sweet of you to gift some memberships. Thank you. You too, Carter B. Let's see here. MM92 says, hi, Grace. Which Batman villain do you think is most underrated? I do think Mr. Freeze. I think a lot of people don't understand the poignancy of the character because of the Arnold Schwarzenegger performance. I would like to see Matt Reeves do that character. And I do think Hugh Jackman would be good in the role, as one of you suggested the other day. Oh, look at Ronnie thanking everybody for the membership. You're so nice, Ronnie. I like your name. Let's see here. Hey, Sarah. Just getting off work. J.A., I did watch Ghostbusters Frozen Empire last night. I thought it was okay. I thought there were too many people in the movie. Like 2/3 through, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Isn't Paul Rudd in this movie? Where'd he go? Blair Wraith also asked me about Ghostbusters. Thank you. Like, for instance, somebody was like, Grace, why aren't you covering Sydney Sweeney as a boxer? I got to tell you, I don't think Sydney Sweeney's a good enough actress to play a role like that. You know, it's like Margot Robbie playing Tanya Harding. I mean, know your strengths and know what people want to go and see you for. Let's see here. Adam Sphere says, is there hope for X-Men Season 2 without Beau DeMayo? I think so. I mean, the show is written, you know, like today's episode is written by somebody else. And we'll see. But I mean, Season 2, Beau DeMayo already oversaw Season 2. So at the very least, you know, he's behind 2 seasons. Thanks, AG. That's such a nice thing for you to say. That means a lot. And then Jacob Van Noren says, I talked with Beau DeMayo on Twitter, and he hinted the final episode of X-Men 97 will be much longer. Oh, excellent. I hope it's longer. I think that I wish the episodes were longer. Sometimes I think they go just a little bit too fast. All right. Sydney Sweeney's trained in mixed martial arts? I don't care. I think that, you know, I think she's just not that good an actress. I think Sydney Sweeney, not a good actress. I'm open to her proving that she is. But I saw Anyone But You, and I saw Madam Web, and she can't act. Oh, let's see here. Nintendo, it says, With X-Men adapting so many of the good popular storylines, which do you think the MCU should adapt? I'm not sure about that. Let's see. As I said, that was a concern that I had for the live action. All right. That's the Q&A. I got to get onto this X-Men thing, so I'm not working too late. All right, everybody. Where are you? What are you doing? Let me say hi. Aided Buffalo, I'm pretty sure I answered your super chat. Let me go back and look. Oh, yeah. I intentionally didn't answer your super chat because, I think you misunderstood the conversation, so there's nothing to say to that. Let's see here. Hey, Danny in Guatemala. Blair Wraith says, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, picking up a load for the truck and going down to Dallas, Texas. Oh, that's so cool. Are you a trucker, Blair Wraith? Do you have like a handle? Let's see here. You have a great night too, Jeff Priest. Fedagan is cooking vegetable soup in Finland. Oh, I love it. That's so cool. Denver Tom says, but did you see Sydney Sweeney in Handmaid's? I saw her in White Lotus. I didn't think she was a particularly good actress there. Let's see here. Brett Crandall says, going to get my hair cut in Kansas. I like the sunflower. Thanks, Mr. Magic. Fritz Fromm says, watching your awesome stream while regretting my recent... Oh, you're not happy in Berlin? How can you not be happy in Berlin with the name Fritz Fromm? I think maybe it's just hard when you're in a new place at first. Give it a shot. Try. I'm not saying it necessarily is a good idea, but just make sure you really give it a try before you decide it was a mistake. Astronomy 360 says, relaxing while I watch the stream and preparing for summer class in Texas. Oh, is it summer for you already? I guess a lot of colleges let out in early May, right? John Thrasher says, I'm about to grill chicken for dinner with my besties in Pittsburgh. I love the burg. Batmad says, the first character shot of Sydney Sweeney. Well, Batmad, everybody knows why people like Sydney Sweeney, and there ain't nothing wrong with that, by the way. Let's see. iHeartMovie says, I'm in Ohio watching Bridgerton, trying to catch up on TV shows. That's great. I saw you got gifted a membership today. Film Fanatic says, enjoying the stream after playing tennis. Oh, that's very cool. Copper Bean says, what's your dinner plans for tonight, Grace? I think it depends what time I finish the X-Men breakdown. I do have a salmon fillet that I might make with some tomato. Depends, though. It's either that or Kraft macaroni and cheese. Let's see here. Brandon Freddy says, finished working in Astoria, enjoying the New York City breeze. Oh, I wish I could feel a breeze. It's hot. Let's see here. Troy says, trying to find a cute little birthday present. Any ideas? Oh, it's so hard to shop for gifts. I like to get people like tickets for something or like a gift certificate because, it's hard to buy another adult something and be like, you wear this or you put this in your house. Let's see here. Billy Baby Bobby says, watching from sunny Indianapolis. Oh, hey, how are you? Ryan Sanchez says, about to walk my dog on this humid Texas day. Well, Courtney M. Calvin says, currently have a cold, so lying in bed in London. Oh, I'm sorry you're sick, Courtney. Feel better. Chris Kahn's also getting sick. Watch out for the spring colds. Make sure you wear a light jacket. Dakota is just finishing up Palm Royale. How is that? I haven't watched that. Isaac Lopez says, like Rihanna, trying to get better from the flu. Another person sick. Lady Jennifer Snow, it's your birthday? You were so generous on your birthday, Lady Jennifer Snow. Happy birthday to you in Cleveland. I hope you're having a great day. You're such a kind person. Brennan Ferretti says, finishing. I saw that one. Daniel Harati is watching Feud, Bet and Joan in Scotland. Great choice, Daniel. Great choice. Love that series. Warren Peace says, in LA eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Oh, I hope that hits the spot. I'm not a PB&J fan, but I know it's a classic. A Haunted Autumn says, lamenting the end of hoodie weather in Minnesota. Aw. Ella Russell says, at home about to go to a play rehearsal. Oh, that's cool, Ella. What's your role? Or are you behind the scenes? Ben 10, as always, is going to bed in France. As I always say to you, Ben 10, bonne nuit. Let's see here. Ricardo Sanchez says, gearing up for the Eurovision final on Saturday. We are having ourselves a party. Brian and Ricardo, you guys are the party. I love it. Let's see here. Tiff is in Colorado, about to take the cat outside for some playtime. I love people who take their cats outside. They shouldn't be stuck inside for their whole lives. Andre Calderon, what a great name, says, years ago you recommended a show called Vicious with Sir Ian McKellen, and it's one of my absolute favorites. Thanks for that and for everything you do. Love to you in Chile as well. I'm so glad I helped you find something that really stuck with you. J. Scott Garraby says, Dungeons & Dragons got a Lego theme. I am building the first set in Philadelphia. I've never built my DeLorean. I feel so bad. It mocks me and says, when are you going to build me? And I'm like, maybe never. Let's see here. Paul Brunel says, about to make some cheeseburgers and watch X-Men 97. That sounds like a nice evening, Paul. And then Asensio Cruz says, hi, Grace, from Fresno, California. Glad you're doing better now. That's right. Just last week I was sick. I'm glad I'm on the mend as well. All right, I better get on that X-Men breakdown. I had a wonderful time with all of you as always. Thank you for joining me for the live stream. And there will be a live tomorrow because I promised you 3 streams a week, and so we got to do it. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great evening, and I'm going to work on the X-Men 97 breakdown right now. Okay, bye-bye.